Hello and welcome back. So now we want to do the next task. We did this task, task 2, Apple, and we're now moving on to the next part of our November 2025 graphics task. So let's see how the question is. So this is the next part of our question, right? The Apple has already been done in the previous video. So now we want to do byte 1, right? So what do they want us to do? Edit the image to show the apple has been beaten once. Save the image as byte1.svg. Okay, so this is what we want to do. We already have done that, so we want to make that byte to show. Okay, so we are going back to our Illustrator. So this is our apple that we had created, right? So what we are going to do is we are just going to open a new artboard so that we don't work with the original one that we had created. So in our new artboard, we are going to copy this one, the one that we have made, and then we paste it in the new artboard, right? So we hit Control C, right? And then we go to the new artboard, and then we paste our image with Control V, right? And then right click to ungroup, right? So we want to ungroup so that we can have these parts separately. Okay, so we can start by moving our shape. We can move our shape to a sideways so that we can start the modifications of the shape, because we want to see it being beaten, that part. Okay, so what are we going to do? We will ungroup. Okay, when we ungroup, let's highlight and then group again. We need to make sure that our shapes are now separate. Okay, and when we have our separate, group and then group again. So when we have our separate parts, we want to make sure that we can now modify each part. And the part that we want to modify is this apple, this one. Right. So this apple, we want to make sure that it has been beaten. So we will use ellipse tool. So in ellipse tool, we are going to use it to draw the circles that show that it has been beaten. Okay, so when you select a tool, it's best to go back to selection 2 so that you modify the shape that we have. And let's change the color so that we can actually see the shape that we are using. Okay, so this is the shape. So if we're going to put it there and stretch it, okay, okay, so we can work with this one. So we click our Alt. Remember, we learned that Alt can help us to have the same shape. To have a copy of the same shape. Okay. So you can modify your shapes so that they show what we want from the question paper. So they show the 3 bytes that we are seeing. Okay. So if we have something like this, we can say, okay, let's do this and remove front. Okay. So when we remove front, we can see that, okay, so this is what we now have. Okay. So Alt, and let's have another shape. Okay, so the one behind, so we have 2 shapes here. So we want this one on top, and the one behind it has to carry a color that is grayish. Let's go to our field, and we go there and we select the fill color that we want to work with. I think we can go with that one. Okay. So we have we now have our red apple and the other color of the apple. Okay. So we want to create that look there so that it feels like it was beaten like that. So we can use our direct selection tool. Where's the direction selection? So that what we want to make sure that our anchor point is actually meeting that top part, right? Okay, so that when it meets that part, we can be able to eliminate what we don't want outside. Okay, so when we are done like that, we can say, okay, this is part that we want, and then we can select the 2 shapes, and then let's use our shape builder tool to subtract what we don't want. We click on Alt. When you click on Alt, it will show you a negative, and when it shows a negative, it shows the part that is you are going to then take away. And when it shows the negative, and when you look at that, you can see that shading. So it says it's going to take away that part. Okay. And this is the inner part that it's showing. Okay. And this red is showing the other part. So we have our 2 apples combined to one, right? Now we would want to then move our apples to be on one position. So what we can do is right click, arrange, then send to back. Right click, arrange, send to back. Okay. Okay, we want this. Let's arrange this one first. Okay. And then let's take this one. Let's send this one to back again. Okay. So that we can see the red one top. Okay. So each step has many ways of working it, right? So now that we have this, we would also want to remove this part here. Okay. So let's try to highlight everything. Let's try and use the shape builder again. Let's click on Alt. We want to remove that part and the pipe that is written again. So it's going to affect us. Control Z. So what we will do is the best is to have our images separate again. So what we will do is we want to cut this. Like that. We can actually group this. Put this there. Which would be one shape with it. Feeling we need to move that Control Z. We need to move that this part here needs to move inside. Let's have it removed some parts. Remember our old. So we take back the shape. Okay, so it's just playing with the tools and making it give it what we want. Okay, so when we click aside, we can see that yes, it's cutting and giving the effect that we want. And we have to remember to have our these blooms showing. So what we're going to do is just say arrange, send back. You want to just either you bring this to the back or you take the blooms to the front. So let's try what we bring out our image. Okay, so let's try to bring our anchors to the front, our light blooms to the front. Bring to front. This one did not go. Bring to front. So right click, arrange, bring to front. So we have our light blues on the front. So we are just now arranging. And after arranging, we're just going to just group. So you can try it again. Try to create this shape like that. Okay. Try and create it. And make sure you are trying to align everything. Yes, so we don't see any yellow that was coming there, and you can see that everything is showing that it was cut. And right, so now we are going to highlight and group because we want to make it one. Shape. Right, so this is our bite. Okay, so we have grouped it, and we can now look at the question paper, bite1.svg, and you can see that yes, we can see our bite there and our cut there, and our balloons are showing and everything else is showing. So now what we want to do is to move to the next. Okay, so let's do a separate video for this one. Can you now try out this bite, right? And when you're done, we move on to the next bite2.svg. Okay, so it's bye for now. Try it out. Let's meet in the next clip.